pals, it's me. Now, some people say that overthinking is a bad thing. You know, stop overthinking things. But I believe that underthinking is a much bigger problem. Stop underthinking things. So, I asked what topics you tend to overthink. And something that came up again and again was friendship. So, that's what I'm overthinking in this film. What makes a friend? Is it someone who's got your back, can laugh with, can cry with, you share secrets with, you do stuff with, someone you care about or maybe love? Now, I've been reading all sorts about this topic, all sorts, and the things that come up again and again when you ask the question, what makes a friend, are, number one, caring about each other, just because you want the best for that other person. Number two, sharing personal stuff, thoughts, beliefs, secrets, and it creates a shared history, and it creates trust, and it creates a bond. Number three, joint interests, doing stuff together, talking about topics that you both feel really strongly about, getting excited about similar things, kind of creating a shared identity. So those are really the ingredients of very close friendships. But there's other kind of friendships too. I've got friends that I'm only in contact with every few years. Some of them that I haven't seen for 25, 30 years, but I still think of them as really good mates. We communicate over the Facebook or the Twitters, and I know their life and they know mine. I've got friends on social media that I haven't even met in real life. I've got one new friendship via social media that I consider a really close friend, supportive, wonderful friendship. I've got friends who tend to be companions for specific hobbies. For me, that's going to the theatre or going to live music. It might be even sport for you. It takes all sorts. Then there are acquaintances or people that I'm in contact with through work, people I kind of know and who definitely add to my life, but I wouldn't think that we're close. And those relationships can also have a really important value. Saying hello to somebody who walks the dogs in the same park that I walk my dogs. Saying hello to somebody who lives on the street and we talk about the weather or something, you know, not important. And the same can be said of online acquaintances, those sort of relationships too. Interaction with other people is valuable. You can be completely contented without any friends. People have fulfilling, interesting lives without any real life friends, without any friends at all, and they don't feel lonely. Loneliness isn't the absence of friends, and having friends doesn't mean the absence of loneliness. As different to a family, you choose your friends and they choose you, so it's a really important relationship. They're your chosen family. If you're a person that enjoys their own company and gets everything that you need from the acquaintances in your life, then that's brilliant. But maybe you don't have any close friends at the moment because this is a time when a friendship's broken up and it's left you feeling like you don't have anyone. I've had lots of times in my life when I felt like I didn't have any close friends and it made me a bit sad. Let's talk about the biggest friendship myth. That we can have a best friend forever. BFFs! This idea that we're supposed to have this one true platonic love, it's not really achievable, is it? Or not for most people. When I was younger, I thought I was a total loser because I've never had that one friend who's been there forever. It's not a realistic goal, but it's fed to us everywhere through various fiction, through books, TV, films. They're all bursting with BFFs and girl gangs or squads or whatever the modern young person's name for it is nowadays. The idea of BFFs is a little bit gendered as well, isn't it? To do with stereotypes of nurture and femininity. It's not traditionally something that men have been conditioned to aim for. In fact, this idea of bromance is the nearest word for it. When two men become friends, though saying that, I do quite like that term bromance because it acknowledges the similarity to a romantic connection. Not many of us are going to have the same BFF during our lifetime. And the idea that if you don't have a BFF, you've somehow done life wrong, can make us all feel a bit rubbish about ourselves. I like to think of friendships as a range of close relationships with brilliant people who come into our lives at different times and maybe stay for varying lengths and meet various needs. That's a far more achievable model of friendship. And it takes the pressure off too, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? I think of best friends as people who are best at being friends, rather than sticking out all that pressure on one person to be ranked number one, best friend. So it's kind of a quality thing rather than a competitive thing. And, you know, friendship can be like a platonic romance. And I've definitely fallen in platonic love with friends. I've fallen in love, you know. I've also had my heart broken. So let me tell you a little story about a friendship that kind of went wrong for me. And how, even though I am 7,000 years old, I can still absolutely feel the heartbreak of a friendship not going to plan. I was working in a college and I joined a new team, and the staff room was really close-knit. And so me going in as an outsider for like 2 days a week part-time, of course I wasn't going to slot straight in, but I didn't expect to feel excluded, which I kind of did. So somebody in the team was getting married to another person in the team. I knew about this wedding. I'd been out with this woman, out for drinks and silliness, and we had a very, very close friend in common, somebody that I really, really adored and loved. So anyway, as it got nearer to the wedding date and I hadn't received an invitation, which I thought fair enough, you know, weddings are expensive, you only invite your bestest friend. I thought, whatevs, none of my business. But as it got nearer, even like the day before, nobody was talking about it. And I smelt a rat. I did. I thought there's something going on here. Anyway, that weekend, oh, it makes me sad just thinking about it. That weekend, pictures kept coming up on Facebook, pictures of the evening party, and everybody in the team was there except me. And it just felt devastating. For nobody to have spoken about it all week, there had been a conversation and everybody must have agreed, don't talk about it because I've invited Sarah. So I felt like shit. The thing that upset me most was that this mutual friend we had in common hadn't said anything. And I knew it was over. I knew that friendship was kind of, if not over, it wasn't where I would have liked it to have been. I'm going to take some responsibility for this. You know, there were reasons why I wasn't invited, not just because I wasn't part of the gang. At that point, I was drinking loads, and, you know, it's before I'd got sober, and you don't want somebody at your wedding who may potentially turn from normal wedding guest into, like, crazy pirate. Nobody wants that on their special day. So there was that. But it could have been handled so much better. I was really heartbroken, not just because of, the school playground shit that it felt like, but because this person who I had in common with the bride hadn't said anything at all. And I was just heartbroken. Went back to college on Monday, and I tell you what, that week I had a smile plastered on my face. I was like the frigging Joker, because I thought these bastards aren't going to see how much they've upset me. There's traditionally not much talk or care or weight given to the aftermath of a friendship breakup as compared to a romantic one, which is a bit weird, really, because the heartbreak's real, the grief's real, and it's okay to have those feelings of loss. Sometimes mates will disappoint you, and you'll disappoint them. Sometimes they'll really piss you off, or you'll piss them off. Sometimes being a good friend means accepting their flaws and hoping that they accept yours too. But sometimes you know when it's time to take a step back from a friendship that was once really important to you. And that's hard. It's scary to go, no, I won't accept your behaviour. And you might be in a place where you're comfortable with being treated poorly, and that's not okay. If someone is treating you with rudeness and disrespect and cruelty, they ain't a friend. Is the relationship unbalanced? Is one person putting in all the work and the other's just coasting? Is that friendship meaningful? Is it adding to your life? Or are you staying friends with someone who's not being kind to you because you're frightened of not having any friends? And moving on, it doesn't have to be awful or traumatic. It can be gentle and slow. That kind of separation over time. When you go through different phases in life, relationships change. With time and a bit of space, it's possible to look back on past friendships and kind of celebrate them, even if they ended badly. How did that person enhance your life? I love a community. I do. I love chucking myself into a group of people online or in real life who like the same things that I do. Because, you're starting off with something in common, something to chat about, something to bond over. As a teacher, I've got to say that learning something is a really good way to meet people and make friends too. You're all making yourself a little bit vulnerable, but just by showing up, by saying there's this thing I want to know or I want to do, and I'm not quite there yet with it. I'm learning. Let me tell you about how one of my all-time greatest friendships came to be. That with my middle-aged fat lass colleague, Cecil, Sarah Ledger. When we met on Twitter, it was about 10 years ago. We're both teachers. She was always the person who'd crop up in some quite angsty academic conversation and say something a little bit inappropriate and hilarious. And I thought, I'm going to keep an eye on her. She is cool. Me and her started chatting online. We met maybe a couple of years later. And then we've just got more and more kind of invested in our friendship ever since. Even though she's only a few years older than me, I think she's a really powerful maternal figure in my life. And I'm really, really grateful for that. And though we're similar in lots of ways, we don't always agree. And we're not afraid to challenge each other. But we do it in a way that's respectful because we value each other's opinion and we admire each other. She has a mouth on her that'd make a sailor blush. But we do laugh. And I think it's absolutely ace that I was, I was in my 40s when this friendship started and developed. And it just kind of goes to show that wonderful people come into your life and change your life at any age.